Welcome to the Black Doctor Collective podcast. We as Black doctors are in a unique position. We can change our communities, healthcare, and the world. Of course, we start by changing the way we see and value ourselves. I'm your host, Dr. Sheneka Horn, pediatrician and physician coach, travel extraordinaire. I am so happy to have you here and listening. So let's get into it. Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Black Doctor Collective podcast. I am going to talk to you this episode about ease because I think that we think that things have to be hard and that we have to earn certain things that we shouldn't have to earn. And I feel like this is the perfect topic to talk about because this week, November 10th, it's Black Women's Day Off. So I don't know. It fell on a Monday. I don't know if you had time to take it off. Mark your calendar now for next year, November 10th, Black Women's Day Off. There's actually 2 in the year, and I think they're hosted by 2 different people. I'm going to take them both, baby. Okay? One thing about me, you ain't got to convince me about taking a day off. Okay? So this episode is actually inspired by one of my coaching clients who, like so many of us, get to a certain point in their career and we want something else, right? We want to build upon ideas that we have, kind of tap back into goals that we've been trying to achieve for some time, whether it's like reconnecting with the community or doing passion projects, being an entrepreneur, or just practicing medicine differently. Now, for this client, she was able to negotiate a good contract, right, with a hospital system that supports a lot of the things that she's into and that allows her to lead certain projects. So she's in this exploration phase and she's found a number of things that she enjoys doing. So she's been able to do some community outreach, some partnerships with local farmers to provide fresh produce for her patient population, things that are truly impactful. But because it comes to her naturally, and because she hasn't had a hard time setting these things up, creating these types of events, she's still looking for something else. And so I had to talk to her about ease, right? Just because something comes to you naturally or easy doesn't mean that that is bad, that you're not doing enough. Maybe that is the thing. And I also had to go into it in the sense of it feels easy now only because you already did the hard part. And I want you guys to really understand this concept that I'm sharing with you. You did the hard part. You went through training, you went through residency, you probably went through the first year of being attending, whatever. You've gone through enough hard. You've gained enough expertise to where now things should be easy, right? It's not to say that you always have to struggle. You don't. Now, medicine, I think sometimes feels like a continuum of struggle. I feel like if you think about just even exams and how exams go, the fact that we are taking all of these really difficult exams all the way through your medical career, even after you become an attending, you're still taking board exams, you're still doing all of these things. It is cloaked in the language of continuous education, making sure that you're qualified to continue practicing, that you're up to date on the current terms. But in actuality, it's very much rooted in patriarchy and white supremacy. Because you and I both know when it was the good old boys club practicing medicine, all of these things were not in place. It wasn't so expensive and you weren't constantly trying to prove yourself. And because it's based in patriarchy and supremacy, it had a terrible turn, right? Doctors were able to do whatever they wanted, unsupervised, not regulated, at the expense of Black bodies, women's bodies for forever. We pushed out midwives. Wasn't me, honey, but they pushed out midwives. They experimented on people. They really created the tenets of distrust that we are now seeing come to full fruition in our society right now, where people do not trust doctors. But it really was a total culture where only white men were in a space, and everyone that wasn't a white man either had a really hard time being in that space or was pushed out of that space. And when it came time to be inclusionary, right? When it came time that the tides were turning and they had to appear that they were willing to accept people of color, women, anybody that wasn't just white and man, they then created all these entrance criteria, all these tuitions. So if they weren't going to exclude you based on merit because people were smart, they were going to exclude you by making it unaffordable. And when you think about medicine now, in this day and age, there are so many people who get rooted out of medicine because of the expense, because of the high cost that is incurred when you're trying to pursue a medical degree. And so there is this feeling of I don't belong. And I've talked about this in previous podcasts. Sometimes it's loud, right? Like this tuition thing, entrance criteria, like all of these screenings, right? Like legacy. And sometimes it's soft. Sometimes it's just, you know what? Scrub caps are really made for males with no hair, right? Can you see all this hair fitting in a scrub cap? You can't. Even the little shower cap things. If I have a full fro, my hair is not fitting under that little shower cap. Okay. It's the fact that scrubs from the hospital are like one size fit all. They're not fit for the curvy body, the bodacious body. They're fit for a slim male, no curve body, men and women. Same scrubs. There's no male and female scrubs. It's just scrubs. All of these things are just small hints at the fact that medicine was not created for you. And yeah, of course, you're constantly trying to prove yourself and you're constantly trying to show that you belong. And then you're also trying to do that by meeting all of these metrics, all of these standardized exams. All of these things are there to make you feel like other. And so, of course, at some point, that becomes internalized. And that internalized message sometimes looks like I have to keep proving myself. I'm used to a struggle. Even when I try to find my own ventures and dip into entrepreneurship and dip into passion projects, I expect it to be hard. I expect to have to constantly be overcoming something. And this is also very true for me. I don't know if you heard last week's episode, my first episode back since June, but it was the concept of I have built a schedule based on the fact that I expect to work a lot and to work hard. Even though I have been preaching tenets of soft life, even though I'm very much interested in the soft life, even though I know that I deserve to rest, I know what the kind of life I want to live looks like, and it is definitely Lady of Leisure. Even knowing all of that, it has been so hard for me to unlearn working myself every day and not doing the most and not taking on every opportunity that seems like a good opportunity. So even though I work less in my clinical setting, I'm working 2 days in clinic plus my one remote day for admin duties. I still found myself filling all the rest of my days with coaching calls for two different programs, mine and my business coaches program. And I found myself filling the days with other admin tasks from clinic, mentoring students, going to conferences, podcasting, social media planning. Like I had 50 million projects happening, 50 million. And that is because I don't expect things to be easy, right? I have this notion that I have to work really, really hard and that I'm working every day. And that's why I deserve all the vacations. So the fact that I was taking vacations every month, I felt very justified in that because I was working damn hard. And then I was also using my vacations as escapism because I'm like, oh, okay, I can work because I know that this month I will travel to X fantastic destination where I'm going to unplug and put everything down. The problem is then I was tired all the time. So I come back to my regular life and I'm still like, okay, I feel rebooted after this week or this couple days off or this trip or whatever. And then I'm like, oh my God, I have to get back into the swing of it. I feel energy. I'm motivated to do the things, except that then I would exhaust myself until it was time for the next vacation. So I have not figured this out, right? I'm clearly, this is even a new revelation to me that I was burning myself out, work in progress. But I want to highlight the fact that you can do things that are easy for you, that are joyful and not energetically exhausting. And don't get me wrong, most of the things that I've been doing over the last year, I have enjoyed, right? Like I enjoy podcasting for the most part. Sometimes I struggle with topics to talk about with y'all and what to say, or I tell myself I don't know what to say and I want it to sound a certain way. So that sometimes feels a little bit hard, but I usually enjoy podcasting. I enjoy coaching, right? I enjoy being in my coaching community, although it was work, right? And I enjoy interacting with patients, especially because my patients are cute, because teen peds. I enjoy babies. I really do enjoy that environment, and I enjoy it a lot more when I do it less, to be honest. Like the less I'm there, the more I enjoy it when I'm actually there. But it was still overkill. It was still too many things. And so I'm still in the phase of deciding what I'm keeping and what I'm letting go. And what I did this summer was just let it all go. And that is I mean, the pathway to ease is just not linear, is the point. And also, you have to recognize when you are used to the struggle and when you are used to working so hard that sometimes you miss your own cues of when you need to rest. And when you start creating different patterns to compensate for the fact that you're overworking, like my vacation work schedule. So, yeah. So, I just wanted to remind you, just give you a little like ding, heads up, ding, ding. If this is you, it's okay for things to be easy. It's okay for you to create a passion project that is easy. I think one of my best examples was during COVID, and I was in fellowship. And I went to the reservation. I was working in Gallup, New Mexico, and that's just such a beautiful community. I have the best memories of being in Gallup and working in despite the fact that it was a pandemic, like, and I worked Monday through Friday. I actually so much enjoyed my work, and it really was because it was so easy. Like, I used my public health degree to create a COVID response for the community, and that looked like figuring out that, oh my gosh, we're getting 1 million donations from all of these organizations and no one knows what to do with it. And tying that with the fact that we've got outbreaks in all of these communities, we have these multi-generational households across a wide swath of land in a community whose main occupation on the side is sometimes not main. Some of the things that they do are very community based. There's a lot of farming, a lot of like cattle raising and community like events that were creating the spread of COVID, that was like fostering the spread of COVID. And because white supremacy, we only had one approach to COVID. Like America's big and fond of the nuclear family, the family who lives in isolation. But many cultures don't live like that. And certainly the Navajos do not live like that. There were multi-generational households. So you can't just be like, everyone in isolation, that's the cure. This is how we're going to fix it without acknowledging culture. And so for me, I'm like, I'm super into a lot of cultures. I recognize the integration of cultural beliefs into medicine. And that's always been something I was interested in. I went to Thailand in medical school to study complementary medicine, and they really integrated Western medicine with traditional Chinese medicine. I went to Kenya to see how medicine was practiced, right? So prior to coming to Navajo Nation, something that was of deep interest to me was already the integration of culture and medicine. And how do we look at what a community does, what their natural practices are, what their natural foods are, and integrate that into healthcare. And I did my public health degree in maternal and child medicine. And that like family dynamic is so important. So coming to Navajo Nation, I already had this background and already had this mindset. And then I looked at, okay, across Navajo Nation, our spread is because of community-based events, cattle ranching, weaving together in community centers. So then how do we attack COVID this way? And what do people need to know? And how do we get this information to them? So I combined the fact that, okay, I'm really good at organizing and we have all these donations that nobody knows what is going on with them. And we have drive-through testing. We have the opportunity, like the means to do drive-through testing. Why don't we take donations, create Navajo-based literature, because there's a whole health promotion department. So let's create language, literature, things that appeal and reflect the culture of the community, right? Combine them in some kind of distribution, like in a way to do mass distribution. So I created a little kit, had information in both Navajo and English with Navajo graphics, using our Navajo staff, because obviously I'm not the expert on Navajo culture, but using our Navajo staff who understands the culture and the community to create these pamphlets, and then using the donations. I went to the church across the street from my hospital, who was obviously not having church services, used their sanctuary and their library and their classrooms to store all of our donations, track the donations, create these kits, and do this work. And it was really easy for me. Like, I went to the church, I got some inventory, I talked to people, I collected donations, I had the team set up, I had people rotating through to make the packages. We would carry the packages in bins over to the drive-through testing. Then we were like, we need to do this bigger. We need to go out to the community. So I mobilized a team of people to go out to the different community. And I just used the data they were already collecting about where the latest outbreaks were to head out to those communities, do drive-through testing, and still distribute my package. That sounds like a lot, but for me, it was so clear and so simple. Right now, when I started, I had a lot of apprehension because I didn't know what it was going to be like. What were they asking me to do? I hadn't used my public health degree. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so hard. I'm going to fail. And so I had a lot of anxiety about, they have all these expectations of me coming to this new hospital. I'm still a fellow. I have a lot of doubts in myself. I haven't practiced really independently. I just started practicing independently as a fellow in these sites. And what can I do as a person? So I created this program, started running this program, and it was through that lens that I was able to see, like, I can do something large scale, have huge community-based impact, involve a lot of people. I didn't have to do it all myself. I delegated a lot of these tasks, right? I created teams and I fostered community that way to do these things. And people loved being a part of it. And I loved running these outreach, we called it like our task force or something, like the COVID task force, our rapid response team to these communities. And it was so easy for me that I felt guilty sometimes. Like, oh my gosh, I should be in clinic. I should be struggling. Like, people don't know how easy this is for me, or like how much time I'm not stressed. Like, the fact that I did not have stressful days, I was doing work. I was inventorying and talking to people and walking around and reading data and going to the command center, but I had full autonomy over my time. I did not have a patient schedule, right? I think I had clinic like when they finally asked me to come back to clinic, I think I still only did it like 2 half days a week. And I just felt so guilty that it wasn't more of a struggle. I even went to the ICU at some point to help do ICU rounds, in adult ICU nonetheless, because some part of me just felt like it had to be hard. Like, I had to look like I was sacrificing. I had to feel the sacrifice in order for myself to feel like I was accomplished, that I was doing enough. And that's a crazy notion, because this project was massive. I was in contact with so many people across the reservation, so many people across the country, so many mass donations. Like, Mary Kay was making us sanitizers by the pallet, and I was in contact with them to get free donations. Like Suave, like major brands. I was doing brand collaboration. And because it was so easy for me to just send off an email, to just keep track of the count, to just tell people, okay, let's just include this in the packet, to do that reporting, I started creating adversity for myself. I decided I was going to rotate through the emergency room. I decided I was going to rotate through the ICU. Why? Why? Because something about medicine has taught me that I have to struggle, that doing a project, using my expertise, using medicine, using the fact that I have a public health degree and understand epidemiology, statistics, and integration into community, I understand these concepts. I took time, I took years of my life of studying and slaving over to be able to build this expertise. But no one tells you once you arrive here that it's okay for it to be easy, and you expect it to continue to be hard. And it does not have to be that. So I hope that story resonates with you all. I hope that listening to what I'm saying is not like, oh my God, she did all these things. And like, no, the point of it is I did something that felt very natural, integrated expertise I had built over years. And I still felt like I need to challenge myself. So ask yourself now, when you're looking at your job and your work environment and things you want to do, if you want to volunteer more, if you want to mentor students, if you want to do things and they feel too easy or enjoyable for you, ask yourself why. Why does it have to be hard? You already did the hard. You already gained the expertise. Beyonce doesn't look like Beyonce because it's easy for her. It's because she built the expertise, right? People can't get up and do what she does. She has 20 plus years of experience doing it. So of course it looks easy. People are going to look at you and see what you do and be like, oh, she's barely working. It's so easy for her. Yes, that's the point. That is the point of expertise. That is literally the whole point, is that it doesn't have to continue to be hard. So I want that for you. I want, as you're evaluating your life and thinking about ease and the way things have to be, you don't have to continue to struggle. You already did the struggle. At some point, you get to sit the heck down. You get to do something that feels natural, easy, and pleasurable, and you don't have to fill the rest of your time, because likely you're doing something that feels easy. You can also do it quickly as well. You don't have to fill the rest of your time with stuff that feels hard. You don't have to fill your time just to make it look like you're working all the time, because you can do something in a short amount of time that's quick. That's just all part of this system of work, this idea that if you clock in 9 to 5, you have to be working 9 to 5. No, give me the project. Tell me the tasks that need to be done, and let me figure out how much time it's going to take me to do it. It's probably not going to take me 8 hours, and I don't need you to fill the rest of my time. Stop doing time-based work. We don't work in a factory. Expertise is not time-based. The point is you're paying me to do something based on my expertise. I don't want to work in a job that is so time-oriented, right? That I feel like I have to be showing that I'm working the whole time. Tell me I need to do this and let me figure out how to do that. Even with patient care. Tell me I need to see whatever amount of patients, and obviously don't overdo it, because some of y'all clinics be overdoing it, like 30 people a day. Who the hell? No. But tell me, like, hey, this is our goal. This is what we're trying to achieve. And I will go and do that. If you're giving me 20 minutes, 40 minutes for my appointment time, I get to decide how much of that time I'm using for the actual patient interaction versus reviewing the chart versus writing the note, right? I can finish all that probably quicker than the allotted time. And that doesn't mean you should fill it with more stuff. And that's why I like where I work, because I don't need anybody filling my stuff with more stuff, because I do a much better quality job when I'm not scrounging around and struggling and feeling like everything has to be hard. So that's my message to you. That's all I got this week. Pick ease. Be intentional about what that looks like, and do not try to complicate your life with more stuff. Okay, that's it. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. please subscribe to the podcast. And what I want you to do next is link us everywhere you can. Instagram at The Black Doctor. Just become part of our collective. I want you here. Thanks. Until next time. Bye.